Hi, this is Jan from Log Cabin Leather, and today I'm here for the third video in my series about why and how butterflies became my obsession. So really that was the first video, why I started making all these butterfly items. My second video, I talked a lot about the patterns and the difficulties I have creating the patterns. What I have to do is I have to draw the patterns out, which I get from looking online at realistic butterflies and so forth, and moth. This happens to be a moth. Then I have to draw it. I have to get the outside lines so that the machine, which you can probably hear humming in the background, which is my Glowforge, which is my laser cutter engraver, so it knows which lines to cut and which lines to engrave. And this is the most difficult part for me. So that's kind of what I went into my last video. This was a pattern I had done previously, and when I tried to scan it, these lines were not dark enough in here, so it wasn't really going to engrave them to make them show. So one side of the wing would have been lighter than the other, that kind of thing. So that's where I have most of the difficulties. Once they're scanned into the machine, then I have to place it on the piece of leather, which is what I'm going to show you today, and then I can create it. So again, I'm going to actually start with one of these and scan it in and show you how that works. So my Glowforge is over here in the corner, and I am going to have to open it up. The problem with this is it has to stay warm because we're still here in New Hampshire and it's been very cold, and it does not work if it's below a certain temperature. So I keep it's a little greenhouse because I have a small space heater that I can just warm up this little area enough to get it to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this pattern under the screen of the Glowforge, and then I'm going to show you on my computer screen. You have to have a laptop to work this piece of equipment. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get this to switch like I want to. Alright, so here's my machine. So now I have to go over here and I have to scan my picture in. And so now what I put on the screen, and see that's on top of the objects I want to print on actually, which is fine because it's not going to matter. I'm going to move this. Now I have to put a box around, and sometimes this is hard because if it's not a square, I don't want it to get cut off the paper because then it's going to show those edges in black and then it's going to make an engraving mark there. So I don't want that to happen. And see now here I didn't get quite that whole wing. So I have to go back one more time and try it once more. Make sure I get the whole thing. Alright, now I've got it scanned here. It's got the whole wing. Now I just really put my mouse outside of it and click. And if it shows it in pink, then it is going to cut those lines and engrave the other lines. The other lines all show up well, so that's a good pattern. So now I go over here and click Place Artwork. And then it's going to now scan that. I want to remove the paper, though, because I'm not going to print on top of. So here's my Glowforge now. I just removed the pattern. So this is a leather now. So now what I have to do, my computer is still scanning now that I took the piece of paper out. It's scanning what I have in there. And so now I have to position this on my piece of leather. Again, the pattern was huge. It's easier to draw big and and then make them smaller. So I can get the details in. So if this is going to be an earring, something is going to be fairly small. Then I'm going to copy it. Then I'm going to paste it. So I'm making two of them. Now I'm positioning them here on the leather in between some other things that I had done on this. Like, however I can get them in here. I do have to go over to my settings. And because, again, up here is engrave. So if I do not want it to engrave anything, I can do ignore or whatever. I do want it to engrave. Now I'm going down to cut. But because the cut settings are... Oops, I have to put in my material, which is why it's not letting me. So I always do thick natural leather. And now for the cut, I can go in here. And I do not have proof grade leather. That's something that the company that the machine comes from sells. It's expensive, and it is not, it's real thin. It's a lot, their thick natural leather is thinner than this piece, and this is really medium weight leather. So, okay, so now that's all set up. Now the button over here, press ready. It's going to put all that information in there. Probably should have tried it on a keyring too, but I didn't at this point. And I'm not going to play this whole thing while it is cutting this out because the machine gets very loud and so forth. But I will continue the video once it prints. So now, again, swinging back over to the machine. See this dot is flashing. I have to press that to get it to print. So I will start it, and then, like I said, I'm going to stop the video and continue after it does print. So here we go. The laser's going to come out across the machine, up into the corner where I place a pattern. You can see it's making little dots there. Doesn't look like much, but it will later. And then the total time to print this was 4 minutes and 30-something seconds. So that's going to count down until it's done. And then we'll be back with you. See you in a minute. Hi, I'm here again. Now the Glowforge has finished cutting that pattern that I just showed you a minute ago. So it started large like this. And now I've scanned it to make a pair of earrings. So I've made it very small. So I'm going to, again, once move the camera here. And I'm going to switch the picture around. So you're seeing my Glowforge. And now I have to come in here and take the piece out. And they just pop out like. And so now I've taken that pattern that was very large. I'll try to show you in my hand here in a second. And have made it into something very small. And that's pretty much how it goes. The machine is still humming over here in the background. And now I have the pattern. My next video that I'll be showing you next is how I paint and color these. If I'm making earrings, I have to dye them first because I want both sides to have the color on them. If for some other things, the back is not as quite as important. But that's what I'm going to show you in the next video. If you're interested in these videos and you want to find out more about my products, if you're watching this on Facebook, you can follow my page. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. Thumbs up always is good too, but comments are even better. If you want to get a discount on my products, then you want to join my email. Again, on either page, there is a link to join that. That's going to give you a discount to begin with, and you can buy some great holiday gifts or gifts for birthdays or special occasions or whatever. Thank you very much for now. Have a great day. Bye.